Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he tells us, the most complete of believers in faith are those with the best character, and the best of you are the best in behavior to their women. And so today's video is a little bit off topic. You're thinking, Abu Musa, you talk about money, you talk about finance, but today you're going to tell us how we should be behaving with our women. It's a topic which has been spoken about a lot on social media recently. And as someone who has been married for 5 years, I feel like I can give a little bit of an input. And I think it's very important to address these issues because sometimes guys don't really know how to behave with their ladies. They're women folk. And as someone who runs businesses, I know how running businesses has helped me massively in my relationship. But that I'm going to go through with you later on in the video. Now, as Muslims, we know as men, we are the protectors and the providers to our women folk. I mean, really and truly, that's how we need to be. We have to be somewhat in control. We have to be somewhat responsible because that's the role. We are the leaders of our family. And that's very important. And I think, unfortunately, and I say this with a heavy heart, unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case always. Men have forgotten the fact that they are in charge of their women. I mean, I actually see some men turning around to their women and saying, I need you to work. Or I need you to help out 50-50. I mean, look, it's very important for us to understand that's our role. If your lady, and I'm going to say lady, expects you to go and earn bread and make the house a certain way and make the home comfortable for her, she's not wrong in asking that. The amount of times I see on social media, women and ladies, females getting put down because all they've asked for is a comfortable home or they've asked for a nice bedroom. Actually, that's our responsibility. I mean, your woman should not feel like she needs to go out of the house. She doesn't feel like she needs to go and work and get things for herself because you as the man should be providing it for her. And for those of you that aren't married and you're thinking, I'm not married and I want to have some money and then I want to get married, let me tell you something. I actually got married when I was 25 years old. I got married and in my bank account at the time, I had no more than £1,000. And we know as Muslim men, once you get married, there is barakah that comes in your marriage after marriage. And so don't think for a second that getting married is gonna cause more poverty. Actually, that's not the case. For me, no doubt. I saw blessings, I saw my risk increase, and that's exactly what I'm going to tell you guys. If you are in a situation where you don't have enough funds and you're thinking, I don't want to get married, the best thing you could do is get married, but more importantly, start working on your businesses, start working on your careers. And I will emphasize that you should all be looking to start a business. And starting a business has directly helped me in my business and made sure that in my relationship, in my marriage, I am actually able to give my family a lot more time because of my business. I can work for 2, 3, 4 weeks. I can do 12, 14 hours, 15-hour shifts. I sometimes might not even see my wife for, 3, 4 weeks, which sounds crazy. And when I say I won't see her, of course I will see her in the night. Of course I'll see her for 1-2 hours, but I won't spend that much time with her. But guess what? Because I have my own business, I can take away a month and just spend a month with my wife. And so that is the beauty of having your own business. Now, I'm not saying having a business now directly impacts your relationship or your marriage, but no doubt that having money in your marriage definitely helps. And let me explain how. If you have children, and inshallah, Allah blesses all of us with children, your wife should be in a situation where she can look after the children. You want your wife to be in a situation where she doesn't have to go to work, where she doesn't have to help out with the bills. That's your responsibility and you're able to do that and she can look after the children. Now, if she's in a situation where she has to go to work and then comes home and looks after the children, that's a lot of stress. I mean, that stress is ridiculous. But if you're doing your role, and your wife is able to look after the children, which is fair enough because we need our wives to look after the children because otherwise the children, well, who's going to look after them? Nurseries? And not only that, sometimes raising children can be stressful. I mean, it can be extremely stressful for your wife. And look, let's say you want to take your wife out for a meal once a week. How much is that going to cost you? Honestly, if you really look at it, a nice restaurant is going to cost you at least £100. Let's say it costs you £60-70 for the meal and £20-30 getting there, parking ticket, whatever you want to call it. £100 it's going to take you now to go out once a week. So if you go out 4 times a month, that's £400. And so you don't want to be in a situation where you cannot even go out and have fun and enjoy your time with your wife. Actually, your wife will also want you to be able to take her out. And that is your responsibility, to be able to make your wife feel comfortable with you, to have fun with you and enjoy her time with you. That's you. That's what you need to be able to do as a man. And this is where making money, having a business, and doing well for yourself helps your marriage massively because you can give time, you can have money to spend with your wife and enjoy with your wife. You can create a comfortable environment for your wife, and so she doesn't feel like she needs to make something for herself, and therefore she can comfortably look after the house. And by the way, I remember doing a video and I said that a lot of women actually would be more than happy to stay at home and look after the house and the children if their men were actually looking after their needs and whatever they wanted in terms of the house. And look, I completely understand you shouldn't be lavish and you shouldn't expect over the top things, but as men, is there anything wrong with wanting to get your wife a nice item? 100% not. And that's crucial for you to understand that yes, your wife should be understanding, but you should also have the desire to be able to give your wife stuff. I mean, why is it where if someone says, oh, the mahar should be 10,000 or 15 or 20,000, the actual response is she's a gold digger, she's a bad person, rather than, well, you know what, fine, I'll try to make it, I'll try to do it. Where's the motivation? I guess that's what I'm saying. You see, if you think about it, if you're going out and working, if you're doing the businesses, if you're making the money, if you're giving your wife what she likes and what she needs, and really and truly, you're not going to end up even arguing that much. And most people, actually, you'll be surprised, end up arguing because the man doesn't want to tell the wife that he doesn't really have money, and it gets close to the end of the month, she says she wants to go out, and he says he's not feeling like it, but actually he is feeling like it, he just can't afford it. Do you know how often that happens? The wife says, I want to go out, let's go out. And the guy says, no, I'm not feeling like it, or no, I don't want to go out. So the wife thinks, oh, he doesn't want to go out with me now, he doesn't love me anymore, and he's changed. Actually, that's not true. He doesn't have the money, and he doesn't want to tell his wife because obviously as a man, you don't want to share your problems, and you don't want your wife to feel like you're not much of a man, and it might make you feel like, well, she might lose respect for you. So you don't tell her that you don't have money. You say to her, I'm sorry, babes, I don't want to go out, I'm not feeling like it. So now she thinks you don't love her, but actually you just didn't have the money at that time. Now, what I suggest is be very honest with your wife, and actually your wife should support you through the tough times. Be honest and open and communicate, because actually hiding behind reality won't actually get you anywhere. Having said that, work hard, create businesses, create an income, and create an environment for yourself where you can homeschool your children, where you can give your wife what she wants, where you can give your children what they want. And let me tell you something, if your wife stops wanting things for herself, your wife will definitely ask for things for her children, as in your children. And so let's say your wife says, oh, it's fine, I don't want to go shopping. Guess what? Your wife's going to say, but the children need something. And when you can't afford to give the children something, that's then going to upset the wife. Because let's be real, guys, as men, that's our responsibility to be able to create an environment where the wife and the family are comfortable. And many articles suggest that at least a third of people who are in relationships or married, I don't even know if it's a relationship or married, but they say that money is a huge reason for conflict in their families. Money. I mean, it is. Let's be real. I mean, some people don't even want to talk about it. And I would argue, actually, that third, it's probably much more than that because, well, we guys don't really like talking about it. And should we be telling our wives how much money we're making? Should we just be completely honest and say, well, I'm making X amount and X amount? No, I don't think it's necessary. Honestly speaking, it's not. In fact, I'll tell you a story. When I was 27, 28, I think, or 28, 29, whenever COVID was, about 3 years ago, alhamdulillah, I was doing really well. I was making 20 to 25,000 pounds with my recruitment company a month when COVID hit. And when COVID hit, my money, my profits, they went down completely. Actually, I started making £400 a month after COVID because companies shut down and my recruitment company, everything started struggling. And thankfully, 6 months later, we recovered and we saw light at the end of the tunnel. But during those 6 months, I didn't really have that much money. And my wife had no idea. I needed to get a lot of things for my child who was on the way. And so I didn't share that until last year with my wife. And I told her, remember that time when you were getting stressed out why I was delaying buying the pram and the bed and all that stuff? And you were saying, well, why were you delaying it? The actual reason was because at the time I didn't have money, but I didn't want to put you in that problem and that stress of that I don't have money. So I just went with it and I worked things out and I made money and I made it work. But the point is this. What's the point? As guys, we're the providers, we're the protectors. And yes, if you feel like you need to tell your wife, tell your wife. I'm not saying don't tell your wife, but listen, remember this. It is up to us to be the leaders, the protectors, the providers. It's up to us to make a comfortable environment for our families. It's up to us to be able to homeschool our children if that is the right thing to do for them. And guess what? That's going to cost money, right? If we want to be able to take our families to Muslim lands, guess what? That's going to cost money, right? If we want to be able to keep our wives at home and be able to look after the children and raise children, because at the end of the day, the three things that are going to help us, one of them when we are gone is our children. And if we want our wife to raise good Muslim Islamic children who are on the deen, we need our wives to spend a lot of time with the children. We don't want them going to work. We don't want them spending all that time working and trying to put food on the table. That's us. That's me. That's you guys. So we men, we need to step up. Like, we need to start acting more like men. Because unfortunately, on social media, I'm seeing a lot of men acting like females. That's just me being real. We love to complain about the females, but we are not acting upon ourselves. We're not really looking at ourselves and saying, how can we improve as men? Because if we men behave how we should, if we be the protectors, the providers, and actually do the things that we should be doing, then the females, the women, they would also stay at home and do what you want them to do and listen to you and do what, because you're playing your part. But if you're just expecting a lot of them but not doing anything yourself, it doesn't work like that. And please, I'm seeing this a lot recently. This red pill movement. I don't know if I completely understand this red pill movement, to be honest. Stop playing games with the females. Stop playing games with women. Be good to the women. Be nice to the women. Speak nicely. I tell you something. In 5 years, say Allahumma barik in the comments. I want every single one of you guys to say Allahumma barik in the comments. In 5 years, I've never raised my voice to my wife. I don't ever feel like I need to raise my voice. Why would I feel like I need to raise my voice to my wife? It makes no sense. And so this whole agenda of speak to your wife like this and she will listen to you, or do this with your wife and play. I promise you, if there's any sisters watching this, there's a lot of games that the guys like to play these days. And it baffles me that men want to play games with women now. We want to fake it. We want to act as if we are something we're not, just so the woman respects us more. Listen, your woman is not going to respect you for someone you are not. She is going to realize she's not stupid. There's no reason to lie to your woman and act and behave a certain way if you are not that way, just so she respects you. So I promise you, there's a movement going around these days, and you may or may not know about it, but behave a certain way to your wife and she will respect you. Say something to your wife and she'll respect you. Close the door and walk out the house and then come back and say, did you learn your lesson? And she will say, I'm sorry, babes, I learned your... I promise these conversations are happening, My thing is this. Be the best you can to your wife. Be the best you can to the people around you. Be the best you can to your mother in front of your wife, so your children sees. Be the best you can to your child, so your child sees how good you are to his mother, right? Or her mother. Be good to everyone. You don't need to shout. You don't need to play games, and you don't need to lie. Be good as you can. Be the protectors. Be the providers. And you do what you can. The rest will follow.